Hey, liberal fruitcakes. Just because someone's educated doesn't make them right. Let's talk about it! Now, what inspired this video was a conversation I had with a young lady yesterday in one of my threads. If you're the person who linked her, I kindly ask that you don't for this one, because I don't want people knowing it's her. If she finds this organically, that's her choice to engage. But I don't want people going at her. Now, the conversation I had with this young lady didn't start out well, because she was responding to being linked and said, why would I engage with somebody who has less followers than me, or who is not as educated as I am? And then she made a statement that said, this is my app, this is my career. Now, one, this person has no idea what my education level is, what field I got my degree in, the level to which I got my degrees, and using a reason such as the number of followers they have as a justification for not listening to a person's opinion or thought on an issue is a narcissistic tendency. So let's look at narcissism, or NPD. Narcissistic personality disorder is estimated to affect between 0.5 and 5% of the world population, and is more common in men than women, by 3 to 1. Now it is defined as having a personality trait characterized by the exaggeration of self-importance. The main characteristics are believing that your self-importance is often exaggerated, or an exaggeration of your achievements or talents, a need for validation, a lack of empathy, a strong sense of entitlement, the belief that just because you are so important, you need things or are entitled to things, exploitative behavior, and lack of remorse or guilt. Now, at 0.5 to 5% of the population, it's not that common. But all of us have narcissistic tendencies. Belief that one's opinion is more important, or the belief that you're better just because you had a higher education or went to college. A great example of this is, Democrats say that they're more educated than Republicans. Just because you're educated doesn't mean the application of that education is correct. This is a fallacy argument, and a well-known fallacy argument at that. This fallacy is known as the appeal to authority fallacy, also known as argument from authority, or speaking from authority. This is the idea that just because somebody is speaking from a place of education or perceived authority, that the statements they make are true. The reason this is a fallacy argument is because that person might not actually be an expert in that field. They might be making statements as if they were. This can also happen if a particular topic is in disagreement amongst experts. A great example is the application of the Constitution, where many experts make constitutional arguments based on their perceived expertise of the documents. And that authority can be tainted based on the education they received, because the person they may have received it may have implicit bias towards a particular understanding of that documentation, even though that might not be necessarily correct. Also, people might make arguments that they're an expert without actually supporting evidence, but claiming that the argument is true. Now, a great example of the application of this is the dissenting opinions against COVID protocols, and the broad application of those protocols, when many experts in the field were dissenting against the very protocols being instituted. And then later down the road, substantial evidence came out supporting the dissenting opinions. But we weren't allowed to question that because of perceived authority. Now, I will never claim to be an expert in a field. I'm a firm believer that you should go do your own research. I'm a firm believer that you shouldn't take it on blind faith that something is correct just because somebody is educated in it. Because again, just because you're educated doesn't make you right. Have a good day!